What's going on there, YouTube? This is SDL0320 representing JVS. I'm back here again for another review for a TV series. This is about the story of Glow. Glow is a Netflix exclusive original that really is recounting to the birth, as it were, of women's wrestling on a major platform. Back in 1986, I believe, is when it actually started. It was televised from 86 on to 1990. I think there was a 2012 documentary that I think it came out. It's called The Story of, no, it was called Glow, The Story of the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. And I seen a little bit of the documentary. The documentary was actually pretty good. I haven't finished it yet. But a lot of the names of the actual characters, I could kind of see like, okay, this is what this character was modeled after. So this is not a direct retelling, but it recounts to a lot of different obstacles and certain things that these ladies had to go through the cycle of trying to make it not just an entertainment industry, but being a platform or conduit, as it were, for wrestling. So for me, background for me, me and my grandfather, we looked at wrestling back in the 90s. And I mean, a little bit early 80s, or I guess late 80s, early 90s. And so I remember, you know, Stone Cold Steve Austin, but I also remember like WCW, the Hulk Hogan's, Sting, Ric Flair. I remember one of my favorites, definitely Goldberg, but The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I've seen his character go from being the pretty boy, you know, from being like, from where his legacy came from, to being like the heel, to being back the hero, and then back and forth. And it's always been an intricate cycle that is always kind of be inward like a soap opera in so many different levels. But watching this film, or watching this series, I would say, it's 10 episodes, and it's by far very entertaining. I was thinking that it's going to be kind of like really campish, really 80s driven, but I think it pays homage more so than a parody of what the 80s were back in the day, just from the standpoint of the platform and how they were as characters, how they dressed, what was going on there. I think they did a really good job from a cinematic standpoint of actually displaying how, you know, the 80s were kind of captured back then. You had like one character that was the punk rock chick. You had, you know, I would say stereotypical black lady, but she had real depth to her character as well, even with her husband. Like, I was kind of like, I see that the character Sam, they had like some messed up stuff that happened in the beginning. She had some situation that happened with her, you know, losing a baby. And at the same exact time, like, her character is very strong, very motivated, self-motivated, naturally athletic. But then you got the main character, Ruth. And it's weird because when you first see Ruth, you see her doing this random dialogue that the lady at the counter, she was like, you read the man's part, and then you read the woman's part, and it's just the smallest of lines. And I think that back, you know, during that era and time, like, it was very hard in the Hollywood and especially the TV arena to being able to get like a major role like that. And I think that the show definitely does a really good job of showing, you know, the grit of what it would take to get something moving, specifically through Ruth's character, because I think that from the beginning of the episode all the way to the very end of it, this girl goes through it all. Like, you're like, I mean, I was kind of like, what do y'all see that I don't see? Like, she's a really good actress, but I saw moments where she was too tenacious, she was too pushing herself too much, she didn't know who she really was. You know, even like, there was a monologue that happened, I think at this ball where they were trying to get like raise support, raise money, and she basically was like, I needed this, not just, you know, lucratively or for my career, but this is really, I hit rock bottom and I need a fresh start kind of thing. Like, Ruth goes through it all. And I don't want to spoil anything, but her character, as flawed and messed up as she is, she's a very intricate part of the heart of this story. But it's weird because everybody loves to hate her. But the funny thing is, Mother Russia, I think is her alias character, everybody supposed to kind of hate her character, and she goes method with it. It's very strange though, because the very first episode, you would never guess that it would end the way it does up until the very end of the very first episode. Because like, you got a character in Ruth, and then you got a character in Debbie, and like they seem like really great friends. It's just, it seemed like, I felt like Ruth, maybe they had like some interesting past, or I'm not sure what happened with their careers, but for whatever reason, Debbie went one way and Ruth went another way, but neither one of them succeeded into the platform that they felt that they were really capable of as women actresses. And it's like Debbie kind of like settled. Like she was like, all right, I got a baby, I got a family, I'm okay with that, I'm happy. And Ruth is like, she's pursuing her career, but she's not going anywhere. And so from that point on, it transfers to, you know, you got the character of Sam. Sam, this is Sylvia? What's the name? Sylvia? I don't remember. But Sam is the most random director. And I think that they're modeling after this character named Matthew that was actually the director in the actual real story. But his character is just so flawed. He smokes, he drinks, like he does cocaine. Like the dude is just flawed. Like the very first opening, like he is not only the comic relief, but he is like sort of the antagonist and protagonist at the same exact time. It's really strange because he's the heart and soul that drives them, but at the same exact time, he's also holding himself back because he is, I don't know, he's just driven weird. And he's just wired really weird. His ideas and his perspectives, it's just all over the place. But it fits their personality because they are specifically, as wrestlers, as people, all over the place. And I think that's one of the funnest things about this series is the fact that they all have their own specific personalities. And I think that throughout the whole 10 episodes, they were able to explore each and every character. Maybe two that didn't kind of like flush out as much, and they just kind of were there for comic relief, which I think is the duo, which were the grannies. I forget their names. But everybody else's character kind of gets fleshed out in a specific kind of way that I actually really could appreciate. But I think that Marc Maron, that plays the role of Sam, I think he does a good job as the director. I think he does a good job with his comedic timing. But at the same time, you can tell that he cares, not just about the project, but about these women. He just doesn't know how to love people. And it's weird because Ruth gets that, but she just doesn't know how to connect with people, you know? And then you got like a character like the Wolf Girl. I forgot her name. What was the Wolf Girl's name? Was it Stacy? I forget the Wolf Girl's name. But she was the most random, weird lady. And it was kind of like, was it Rhonda? I don't remember. I forget her name. But she was the most random, weird character that I was like, she fits this. But I know that there's more depth to her character. And I think by about the second or third episode, when they kind of like go and start living together, and Ruth is kind of like there with her, you can tell, you know, all right, she doesn't do this every single day, but for a specific reason. And you kind of get a small semblance of personality and characterization and growth. And I think that the progression of this is edited very well. I think they edit, you know, the character's progressions very well. So it's like after each episode, there's something that happens that platforms to the next. So you don't linger too long, but you're like, all right, the story is still driving itself on so many different levels. Me, Three of the Back Geeks, and some other people are going to be doing like a full discussion on Glow. I don't remember, you know what I'm saying, like the TV show. I actually find it very fascinating looking at the documentary, seeing how there are different things they picked out here or there. I think I'll say this, that the commitment that the women that are the actors to this, how they were able to really kind of look the part by the end of the series, like, okay, they are really going for it. Like to me, they were believable wrestlers. It's weird though, because when I looked at the documentary, I was like, okay, these are the real wrestlers. But for what they were given, the amount of time they were given, I think they really committed to what I would assume is the beginning stages of women wrestling for that era in that specific time frame, and they all committed to it. I think the way they did the choreography, the way they actually had these specific wrestlers come in and really help, and I think they just did a really good job with, you know, slowly progressing us up until the 10th episode, where everything kind of goes full circle. And I think it was very gratifying. I think it was a very entertaining series. I saw it completely with my wife. She's a little sick right now, so keep her lifted up in your prayers. But it was very entertaining. It was very good. Now, was it great? Was the acting impeccable? I think that there were some really key moments. I think one moment in the hospital, one moment where I think Debbie and Ruth had this really drawn out conversation. Definitely the pilot episode definitely hooks you. But I think it's like this show has room for growth. Just from now the fact that we know who all of them are, what do they do moving forward? Because at the end of it, I was kind of like, okay, you know, that's really interesting. I want more. But it's like, I felt like they could have ended it a little bit stronger. I don't know, it's really strange. If I had to rate this series, maybe I give it a 9 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10. I think it was really good. I think that they committed to it. They knew what they had. They got really good chemistry. They got some really different talented actors, but progressively, I don't know what they're gonna do now going into the second season, because based on the documentary, the range of women grows. So that means more characters, more people to kind of like rally behind. But it's like, are they gonna stay central to the characters they've already shown for the first season? Or are they gonna add these new characters and they have new stories? And like, how big is it gonna actually really be? But for me, I give it 8.5 out of 10, 9 out of 10. I think it was really good. So it was very entertaining. Definitely go and check it out. There are a lot of different moments of drug usage, alcohol usage, sex. So this is not for kids, again. You want to say something for kids, probably leave it with Stranger Things. But hopefully you enjoyed this review for Glow. Keep it locked. Ready yet? Get set. JVS, we ain't gonna stop. I gotta go. That was enough. All right. Peace, you guys.